Hi, this is attorney Adam Smallow from MD Accident Law in Maryland, and today I'm going to tell you about the 5 worst auto insurance companies when it comes time to settling your personal injury case. Very beginning of cases, clients often want to know how much my case is worth. What do you think is reasonable? We can never really predict that. We don't know the true nature of their injuries. We don't have the medical bills. And sometimes, most importantly, we don't know how the accident has impacted their lives. The injuries from the accident has impacted their lives and their families. But what we can figure out pretty quickly is who is the insurance company that is representing the negligent driver that caused the crash that injured our client. And we actually let our clients know as early on as possible what that insurance company is all about. And very often it saves a lot of shock and surprise when we're trying to settle this case without filing a lawsuit, particularly these bottom 5. Or top 5. And what do I mean by the worst insurance companies, these awful auto insurance companies when we're trying to settle? I mean the insurance companies that engage in bad faith settlement negotiations, that present offers that are nowhere near reasonable, that represents our clients' injuries and the losses and all the impact that the accident has had on their lives. And when I talk about bad faith settlement negotiations, we're talking about, well, he wasn't so great before the accident, or we didn't hit you that hard, and all this stuff that is just white noise compared to the quality of the medical care that our clients receive and the strength of their cases. So we really have to push back hard, and very often it requires filing a lawsuit. So let's get started. Number 5. Like an uncaring neighbor, State Farm is there. I call State Farm the best of the worst. We do settle with them. They aren't great. And I also call them Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, because on a Monday we have a reasonable settlement with them. And on a Tuesday we have another case, and it's like, well, what planet are you from? And that often necessitates filing a lawsuit. So again, not the worst, but not great. The little green gecko, Geico. Geico has some of the nicest claims adjusters and people answering the phone calls and talking to throughout the course of through our clients' cases, but they are horrible, and they are really bad in presenting pre-litigation settlement offers, and very often it does require litigation. And the good news about Geico, silver lining here, is that when you do file a lawsuit because you can't get a fair settlement, they very often settle before you actually go to trial. They're smart, they're not that stupid. So while we do file a lot of lawsuits against Geico, we don't often go to trial because they do come to their senses, and that's what it takes a lot, filing a lawsuit against these really awful insurance companies. Number 3, great new jingle, which is relatively new, but they've been around for a while. We know Liberty, 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 Liberty. They're horrible. And this is an example. This is the type of insurance company, and I don't know who's calling the shots at the top, where sometimes they won't even offer you your full medical bills to settle your case. It's nothing to say about the other aspects of our clients' cases for compensation purposes. So they're really bad. The good news about Liberty Mutual is that they write often we see high policy limits, which is the ceiling that we can actually obtain, whether it's through a settlement or a verdict at trial. In Maryland, the minimum limits that you have to be carrying is $30,000. It's a low ceiling, especially when we have a really significantly injured client, especially ones with permanent injuries. Liberty Mutual writes a lot of 100,000 policies, 200, 250, 300, 500,000. Again, the driver, that's what they're carrying, and that doesn't mean they're giving it away and they're cutting you a check on day one. You've got to fight for it. You got to fight for everything with this insurance company, but it does mean that if we do go the distance, we do go to trial, we do file a lawsuit, we can get a really good, reasonable settlement at some point, or we'll go to trial and get a verdict. And number 2, Progressive. Newsflash, Flo is a fraud. Progressive is just as bad as Liberty Mutual in evaluating these cases, but the difference is Progressive, unlike Liberty Mutual, tends to write very low policies, a lot of minimum limits in Maryland. Those $30,000 policies or step up at $50,000, and often that's nowhere near the compensation our clients deserve based on the injuries and whatever else that the negligent drivers caused in the wake of a car crash. So that's the worst part about Progressive. They're just like Liberty Mutual, but they write low policies, and often we find ourselves in tough spots with our clients, even after we have to file a lawsuit. Number one. This insurance company has earned it. They've got a firm spot on number 1, and I don't think any of these other jokers are going to be wrestling away the title from Allstate. You're in poor hands with Allstate. Allstate is the equivalent of scorched earth. That's about the best way I can explain Allstate. Just like Liberty Mutual and Progressive and Geico and State Farm, very low settlements, horrible settlements relative to the merits of our clients' cases. But the difference with Allstate as opposed to these other insurance companies, when you file a lawsuit, they'll take you to court and they'll go the distance. The good news is we win and they're very successful in court. It's a shame that it takes a while for our clients. Justice delayed is not justice denied, but Allstate does not care, and it is the worst auto insurance company to try to settle a personal injury case with in Maryland, and I suspect the rest of the country. And that's it. That's your top 5. And this is something that a lot of lawyers, I'm sure a lot of lawyers and clients are talking about, how an insurance company can affect the value of their case and what it means as part of their case. But it does matter. And these are the top 5. And there's other insurance companies out there, and I'd be more than happy to tell you about them as well. So thank you very much for listening. And I do welcome your comments on YouTube, particularly if you or your family members have had experiences with any of these 5 insurance companies I just went over, because I'm sure they weren't favorable. And we're MD Accident Law. We're the law offices of Adam M. Smallow. We're on YouTube. We got a lot of videos about a lot of other areas of personal injury law, and pulling the curtain back a lot for people that were in car accidents and answering your questions. The last thing is I want to say, lastly, this is real lastly, these are really awesome upgraded water bottles. And if you want one, you simply have to email me personally. I'll give it, my email address is adam@nationalinjury.com. Adam, ADAM, @nationalinjury.com. Let me know your name and your address, and we will gladly send this out to you. Thank you very much. Take care.